Okay, so on this question, they give us a function and they want us to find the derivative. Bring it down here. So 4 cosine of, yeah, let me try to make this one clear. 3 natural log x. Yeah, I did some colors that way because I want you to see that whole 3 natural log x. That's all plugged into the cosine function, right? It's not cosine times this. So it's really important that you know, like, how do I know? Well, because if they here's how they would do times. Maybe that'd be the best way to say it. If they instead had done 4 cosine and they'd had an x right there, and then they'd had 3 natural log x like that, that would be multiply. You see that? That would mean multiply. Whereas this means plug, plug inside. Plugged, I guess I should. I'm a math teacher, I'm bad with the words. Plugged inside. That's what that means. See that difference in how I'm looking at it? How do you know? Well, because sine, cosine, tangent, they have to have their own argument. So if it already has, its own plugin, I say argument, plugin, same thing. If it already has a parenthesis thing after it, then that's his plugin. That's what's being plugged into cosine. And this other thing is really being multiplied. But if the cosine doesn't have a parenthesis, well, whatever this is the parenthesis thing that comes after cosine. So this is being plugged inside cosine. Does that make sense? Yeah, you see that difference? So in our case, they're putting this is the plug-in inside. Okay, so what matters? What would that mean? Well, if it was multiply, we'd have to use the product rule to do the derivative. When two functions are multiplied, do the product rule. When they're plugged inside, we're going to do what? The chain rule. That always means chain rule. When something's plugged inside them, it's a different rule. So here we go. It's chain rule time. So the derivative is going to be, how do you do the chain rule? First off, the four is just going to sit there. You start, remember the chain rule? And write it up here. Because we have, oops, down and not looking up. We have a couple layers here. We got one, two. Yeah, we got two basically. So then you have like an outer and an inner, and you take the derivative. You do the derivative of the inside stays as it is, times the derivative of the inside. That's a chain rule. So we're going to do the outside. What's the derivative of cosine? Negative side. Yeah, you know what I would do with a negative? I'd stick it right in the front here, right there, and then just make it sine. Because I don't want to, yeah, why am I doing that? Well, because if I write it like this, if I go negative sine, the problem there is that means subtraction. If I don't put any parentheses, this means 4 take away sine. And think, well, why is that wrong? Well, because it was always multiplied. It was always 4 multiplied by something. It can't suddenly become subtract. It can become 4 times a negative. So you could write it like this. You could go, I'm going to do 4 times negative sign. Yeah, that's okay. That means multiply and that'll work. But that's just awkward. So I just think it's easier to just stick the minus right here in the front because, it's going to end up negative, right? So the derivative of a cofunction is always negative. So just make it minus 4 sine. And then what do you do with the inside? Well, the inside stays the same at first. So 3 natural log x, but we're not done there. Then it's times the derivative of the inside, right? That's the I prime. So what's the derivative of the inside? Well, the 3 will just stay there, right? Times, and what's the derivative of natural log of x? 1 over x. Remember that? It's the other rule, ln x, derivative 1 over x. So there we go. So that's really the answer. See, that's what they've done here. Minus 4 sine 3 natural log. Oh, they made it 3 over x. You can do that, right? Or not, whatever. It's good enough. And then, I mean, if you really wanted to clean it up, probably the nicest thing to do, that 4 can come way back here and multiply that. I'm sorry, that 3 and that 4 multiplied to be negative 12. That'd be the nicest thing. Sine of 3 natural log x times 1 over x. You don't have to do that. No, you might say, well, why can't that 3 come out and multiply that negative 12? Well, because that 3 is plugged inside of the sign, huh? You can't come out. Whereas this 3 He was just loose and free. He wasn't inside of the sign, so he just went to the front and multiplied the four. You can put it that way. It's fine to type it in this way. Last step, they want you to plug in a three. So just take your calculator. Right here, they want F prime of three. So just plug in a three there and plug in a three there. And hit the buttons on the Desmos calculator. All right, there we go.